With Star Wars Jedi Survivor just a couple of days from launch, we are very excited to be jumping into today's video where we are doing a Q&A from questions you guys have asked about Jedi Survivor. Now, I have been lucky enough, and I'm really happy to announce this, that I've actually been playing the full game for the past couple of days now. So thank you again to EA and Respawn and the Creator Network for allowing me to do this and getting hands-on with the game early. I am having so much fun with it, and I can't wait for you guys to enjoy it for yourselves. But for now, we're going to answer whatever questions we can without spoiling anything and what I'm actually allowed to talk about. So you guys have left some questions here for me from my community tab, and if you want to drop more questions in the comments down below, feel free to do so, and I will do another Q&A video very soon. But with this one, we're going to focus on the 21 questions that we had in the community tab, and then the next video will be made from the comment section of this video. So if you want to do that, that'd be great. It'll help fuel the content next time. Also, if you're brand new, make sure to subscribe to this channel. We've been getting a ton of new subs lately, and I really do appreciate that. And if you want short form content, so like a minute or less, I'm going to be pumping out a ton of Jedi Survivor clips over on my clips channel. So the link's going to be in the description below. Make sure you guys go and sub over there as well, and you're going to get a ton of value from that channel too. Anyways, let's jump into the video. The first question is, Blunt Canadian said, I find myself wondering about the blaster more so with the customizing. Do you get to swap individual parts on it like a lightsaber, or is it just pre-built blasters we get to sort through in a sense? Now, this one I don't really have too much familiarity with at this point, and it's probably something that I can't really talk about anyway up until the next one. So I apologize that the first question is one that I can't answer, but as soon as I get the chance to, I'll put a short clip out on the clips channel, or maybe I will answer it here. Sapphire Storm said, can you skip cutscenes this time? I believe you can. I didn't want to skip any cutscenes, so I didn't really try, but I think instead of like skipping full cutscenes, maybe you can skip dialogue. I feel like I remember hearing someone say that, so you can just like skip that line ahead, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure. I will have to get back to you on that one. Nightwing says, can you tell us how many planets will be in the game, or at least how many new planets? You guys are making this really tough because a lot of this stuff is things that I can't talk about just yet. So you're going to have to wait and see. I actually asked the developers in my interview how many planets were in the game, and they told me they weren't allowed to tell me. So it's one thing that I can't mention either. You're just going to have to wait and see. Golden Velocity wants the ending of the game in as much detail as possible. We're just going to say no to that one. Which character would you like to see make a cameo in the game? That's actually a really good question. For me, and I speculated about this on the Clips channel recently, I know everyone's going to say Ahsoka's been overused, blah, 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 but I would love to see it. Like, we know she's floating around at some point in this timeline. It would be extremely cool for her to make a cameo, and I would just lose my mind. She is one of my favorite characters. And if you saw the clip that I posted on my Clips channel about Ahsoka being in this game, basically Cal was put into the Galaxy of Heroes game, and he has a direct buff purely just for Ahsoka Tano. So that kind of got my mind thinking it might be a bit of a stretch, but you know, why would they give a buff to Cal that only buffs Ahsoka in the game? You know, so there is a small chance that maybe she would show up. LMC says, who do you think will most likely make an appearance other than the main characters in the Mantis crew and previous Fallen Order characters? Yeah, again, like Ahsoka's probably the big one. I know like some people have speculated that Maul might show up in the end. You know, even Trilla, like imagine the plot twist that Trilla didn't actually die to Vader in the end of Fallen Order, and then she rocks up in the end of Survivor to help you out or something along those lines. Like that would be crazy. Like that would be a really cool cameo that would just shock everyone, I think. So I think that one would be fun. Illidan says, do we get the white lightsabers early? Yes. I'm pretty sure as soon as you start playing, you can choose your lightsaber colors. They've just carried it over from the previous game, and they've added the white to it. So I'm really excited. The white actually looks really, really good in the game from what I saw at the early preview event. But in saying that, not the best looking blade in the game, so I will leave that to you guys. Do with it what you will, but yeah, we're gonna leave it like that. Crabniak says, how large would you imagine Kobo being, and from what you can tell, probably not much. How could the other planets' design philosophy be different, if not just more like Fallen Order? Well, I mean, we only got to play on Kobo in the preview event, so I can really only speak on that at this point. Kobo is massive. And when I say massive, I mean it is huge. Like, you thought Zepho was hard to navigate. Kobo is probably 3 to 4 times the size of Zepho, I reckon. It's not as challenging to maneuver around and scale. It's a lot more flat, but there is so much more exploring to do. There are so many different quests. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do on this planet outside of just the main story. So getting through Kobo is going to be huge. And in terms of the other planets, I'm not too sure. Maybe there's some other big planets in there too, but I'm really not sure at this stage. Boyle said, on average, how long should we expect the NPC quests to take? Will they be complex quests or just a go-to location? I'm pretty sure they're just a go-to location. The only one that I got to do at the event was the Rancor. So basically I walked up to this area. There was a chick standing there. We spoke to her. And she pretty much said, hey, some miners went down this shaft. They got stuck down there and I haven't heard from them. Can you go check it out? And we went and checked it out. And obviously there's a Rancor down there with, you know, bones around in the pit and that kind of thing. So then you fight the Rancor, you go back and you get a reward. So that's kind of how it works. That one was, I'm assuming, a short one, but there could potentially be longer ones in the game as well. High Ground says, pretty excited to be watching all your content coming up to Survivor. Unfortunately, I fractured both my wrists a couple of days ago, so watching someone else play is going to be the closest thing to actually playing, at least for a while. Oh, cool. So not actually a question, but High Ground, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying the content, and I can't wait to get more out for you. Expensive Granola says, what is, or was it common to find a set of parts in one chest, like a full lightsaber or a BD1 set of parts? No. I didn't actually find any during my 4 hours of playtime on Kobo, but I did hear other creators finding full lightsabers at times. So I'm not sure how often. Maybe it's just you have to get really, really lucky. But yeah, I didn't find any during my playtime. Surge says, is there a specific lightsaber stance that you played with that felt better than the others and would be worth upgrading as soon as it was unlocked? To be honest, I'm not going to recommend bothering with single blade stance at all. Unless you're really like a die-hard, like single blade, that's me, that's Star Wars, like that kind of thing. I've only played with dual wield and double bladed in the playtest. They both felt great. Dual wield is really fun because it's fresh, it's new, all the abilities are new. You get to kind of figure out what you need to do with the speed and the power of this stance. And then the double blade has been fully overhauled, all new animations, all new abilities, all new skills that you can use. It is so much fun. It's like a combination of Darth Maul from Battlefront 2 and Cal from Fallen Order. So, but with all new animations and takedowns. It's ridiculous. It's so much fun. So they're probably the two I would focus on in the early part of the story, because you do have access to them as well. Dodo Bird says, what was the game's approach towards fall damage and insta death zones? Is it similar to Fallen Order where you're instantly respawned with a small health deduction, or will you fully? Yeah, so it's basically exactly the same as Fallen Order. So if you fall off a ledge, you're going to get back up right where you dropped off. Snuggle City, what was the enemy variety like in each engagement? Were there 1 to 3 enemy types? Or were there more per engagement? Yeah, like so it varied. Some engagements were 3, some engagements were 6, 7. Like it just really depended on the area. You can come up against some pretty big groups of enemies that you got to take out at times, but yeah, really fun. Was there an incentive for you to visit the Cantina? Yes and no. Like it does happen in a little bit of the main story. You have to go there to see Grease, which you guys would know by now. But yeah, obviously there's a whole bunch of stuff to do, and there's friends to recruit that end up at the Cantina, and you know, different little side quests and things out of there as well. So definitely rewarding to go there. How powerful were Cal's force abilities? I didn't focus too much on his force abilities during my playtest. I focused more on the lightsaber combat. The pull and push pretty much feel the same. Force slow, or like the freeze ability, that's kind of fun to use. And it's a little bit different to the way that they did it in Fallen Order, but yeah, outside of that, pretty powerful, but much the same as Fallen Order from what I could tell. Zach, were there any bugs or glitches that you experienced? Just a few frame rate drops, and I'm sure they're going to clean that up before the launch of the game. But outside of that, everything felt really great. Boyle had another one. Is there more animations for the 2 stances we had originally? I did just touch on this. Single blade feels very similar. Obviously, I haven't upgraded the skill tree, so I'm sure there's new skills for the single blade, but as for the double bladed lightsaber, it is completely overhauled, brand new, and feels incredible. So I would recommend trying that out. What Up says, how long does it take to hit the boundaries in the Kobo map? Let's put it this way. I played for 4 hours and I didn't hit a boundary. So it's a lot of running. It's a lot, but they have actually added fast travel now. So that makes it a lot easier. But yeah, you're not hitting the boundaries anytime soon. Like, it's a trek to get there. Luke says, from your experience, what sets the dual wield stance apart most from the original 2 stances? The dual wield is really fun. The main thing that kind of sets it apart is that it is more of a speed loadout. So being in and out really quickly. It is powerful, but you are focused on movement speed and getting around things, getting behind things, attacking from different angles, attacking and then jumping backwards. You know, throwing your lightsabers from a distance. There are some really cool abilities on this skill tree that you guys are going to want to see, and make it very different from the first 2 stances. Snuggle had another one. What advantages did each stance that you used give? For example, were dual sabers fast? Did the saber staff give an area of effect? Yeah, exactly what you said. Dual sabers was very fast, very agile, but still powerful. The dual saber had the double-bladed saber had a massive area of effect combo. This was really fun to use and definitely easy for taking out groups of enemies. And then the single blade, like I said, I didn't really use it because I wanted to focus on the other 2. But I assume just general all round for the single blade is kind of what they've focused on. But with that said, that's all of the questions from our community tab. Like I said, I'm going to answer more questions from the comment section of this video very soon. So if you want to drop something down there, and let's think about today's comment that you can put down below. We're going to go with Merrin. All right. Comment Merrin down below if you guys made it to the end of the video so I can say thank you. And with that said, drop a sub, make sure to like this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and may the force be with you always.